Welcome to the first podcast of Jacket Talk. I'm Nick Rizzo here with Brandon Johnson.
How you guys doing?
We're pretty excited to bring this to you. We're huge sports fans, and we just want to share what we got for you. We're going to start off by sharing some March Madness insight with you. We got our brackets out here. What do you think overall about the bracket?
I think the bracket's pretty awesome. I think that when they picked the teams, I think they did a pretty good job. I think they did leave some good teams out, but it is what it is.
What do you feel about UVA over Michigan State for that one seed in the Midwest? I thought Michigan State probably should have got that with the Big Ten,
Yes,
Big Ten
absolutely.
champions.
Yeah.
But evidently bracketologists didn't think so. But I think let's start out in that bracket. I have Michigan State coming out of it. I just said I thought they should have been the one seed. But I don't have many surprises here except for Purdue. I do have Purdue knocking off University of Virginia in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, my bracket is kind of the same. I do have Michigan State coming out. I have Seton Hall advanced to the Sweet 16. I have Dayton beating Syracuse because Dayton's kind of close to my house.
I love Dayton.
Yeah.
Got to get those Buckeyes.
And I got Michigan State beating Virginia in the Elite Eight, advanced to the Final Four, as a lot of people predicted.
All right, so let's go up to the East. UNC is the one there. A lot of people have them coming out. I, however, don't. I have a little bit of an upset with the 3 seed coming out of that region of West Virginia. I have them knocking off Notre Dame and SF Austin in the first 2 rounds.
And West Virginia is a tough team. They did beat Oklahoma, so the SEC.
A first-round game I'm really looking forward to see is the Wisconsin-Pitt.
Oh, yeah.
Wisconsin really came on at the end of the year. I have them going up into the Sweet 16. I like Big Ten schools overall. I think their style of play fits the tournament pretty well. And they got hot at the right time, so I'm excited to see that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably going to be the best game coming out of the first round of the bracket. I actually have UNC coming out. I'm just a big UNC fan. I think Marcus Page would do a good job coming out of UNC and be a senior to lead that team.
They do have that senior leadership at UNC. Roy Williams does a good job with that. What about the South? We got Kansas, the number 1 there. Villanova's the 2. A lot of people say Villanova's a little shaky. Do you have an upset there, or do you have them escaping the first couple rounds?
I'm skipping the first couple rounds, but I am looking forward to if they do come out to play against Iowa. I think that would be a good game. Inside around the 32.
Yeah, once again, I go Big Ten there, and I have Iowa advancing my Elite 8, actually.
Yeah.
A little bit I have them facing Arizona there, and I don't like the Cats very much, but I just think they have an easy route to the Sweet 16 with Wichita State, which that could be an upset there. I hesitated picking over Arizona there, but Wichita had the play-in game. They looked pretty good the other day.
Yeah, I actually have Wichita State coming out over Arizona. That's on my bracket.
Well,
I don't think Arizona's too strong of a team to even.
Yeah, the
get out the first round.
Pac-12 has been a little shaky this year. That goes in the Pac-12. In the West, we have Oregon, the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
Not many people are aware of Oregon. They play late at night usually, but they came out with the number 1 seed this year. So
Absolutely.
a lot of people are taking them to the Final Four. I've seen. I, however, don't. This is where my big upsets come in. I have Cincinnati in my Elite 8 coming out of this, the 9 seed. I know it might be a little crazy, but I just don't trust Oregon. They've never been a powerhouse basketball school.
No.
Cincinnati has that tradition of at least getting out of the first couple of rounds.
I agree, but I just believe that the South is just a weak. Have a lot of weak teams. I feel like just them and Oklahoma is the only strong team. I feel like Duke. We all know about Duke. they lost
Duke's
10 games this year. So Texas A&M is a big sleeper inside this bracket. I do have Oklahoma beating Texas A&M. I think Buddy Hield did make the shot. I think Buddy Hield got the shot off.
Buddy Hield, Player of the Year this year?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I think so too.
Absolutely.
If Ben Simmons doesn't get it, Ben Simmons is the easy number 1 overall pick, but
He's not.
Buddy Hield's definitely the Player of the Year this year. Yale makes the tournament for the first time in history.
Mm-hmm.
I got them getting a win.
I do too. I have them beating Baylor.
You love seeing those stories. Teams getting in first time ever, make a little run. Just loving the fan bases go nuts. Speaking of teams, Fuller Gulf Coast. Every year, I say a 16 seed might upset a 1. I pick one game that I think it could happen. I think that's the game. They have that tournament history, so they've been there before.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah, Yeah. Actually, I do remember a couple years ago when did they make it to the Sweet 16?
Yeah, I believe so.
That was
And
really
I'm not calling it, but I wouldn't. That's my best bet for a 16 knocking over a 1 this year. All right, let's get into the Final Four. I have Kansas, Oklahoma, and West Virginia and Michigan State. What do you got
I
there?
have Kansas, Oklahoma, Michigan State, and UNC.
Well, we got a pretty similar Final Four.
Yeah.
I'm excited. If that happens, I'm excited to see the Oklahoma-Kansas rematch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The Big 12. I watched that game back early in the season. That to go overtime, end of the game or overtime, they had that controversial call that on the inbounds pass, and I thought it was a great game. Buddy Hill get a rematch,
Yeah, Buddy Hill had 44 points the first game.
something like that. Yeah.
Crazy.
So I have Oklahoma, Michigan State in my final. It got the Spartans taking it all. Kills me to say that, being a Buckeye fan and all, but I think Sparty's going to do it.
I actually have Kansas and UNC inside my final.
Who you got winning it?
Kansas overall.
Kansas.
Yeah, I think Perry Ellis. I mean, I've been there for like 5 years.
Dude,
now.
he's like 55. But, yeah, I think it's going to be an exciting tournament this year.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's really no big team like last year at Kentucky, and they didn't even win it.
Yeah.
But everyone expected them to go deep. I feel like any team could get upset this year.
Any team definitely has a shot. I mean, even throughout the season, if you just notice, like how many teams lost. Duke kept on losing. Kentucky kept losing.
Yeah.
Oklahoma lost a few games. Kansas lost. No team even came out just dominating. Villanova was one for like a few weeks, and then they lost.
Yeah, there's a lot of parity in the league, in the NCAA this year.
No, absolutely.
I was going to bring up that we talked about the Player of the Year, Buddy Hill, and I feel like the freshman one and dones have kind of surpassed a little bit. There's not many big one and dones this year. We got Ben Simmons, but
that's probably about it.
He's the biggest name out there for the draft.
You have Ingram from Duke.
Ingram, yeah, but I think he's underplayed a little bit this year.
Absolutely.
Krzyzewski does a great job as always, but it's just crazy this year.
Yeah, I don't think Ben Simmons will play. I think he'll even go up like number 3 inside the draft. Basically, of his attitude and lack of play with LSU. I mean, I watched a few games of him. I wasn't really impressed.
Think he should have went to Kentucky or another
Absolutely.
powerhouse?
Absolutely. LSU just didn't have enough firepower for him.
Nah, not at
I don't know
all.
why he won.
I mean, just watching them play, he was the only one on the team that could do anything. They didn't even get in, they decided not even to go in the NIT this year.
Absolutely.
So kind of kills basketball fans not being able to watch
Yeah.
a great talent, but we'll get to see him pretty soon.
And plus, like a lot of one-done players go to like the big schools like Kansas, Kentucky, Duke, Michigan State sometimes. But
Absolutely. But, this is my favorite time of the year usually. You get nonstop competition Thursday, Friday, and it's just a great time to watch TV, sit back, eat some pizza. It should be a good time.
absolutely.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to have Alex Jones talking about our local BW sports. Wrestling team got championship this fall. Basketball teams made it deep into the tournament. We're going to hear about that and hear about the spring sports coming up.
All right, thank you guys for your time. Appreciate you.
Hello and welcome to Varsity Jackets. I'm Alex Jones. Alongside me is Nick Rizzo, and we're going to get into talking about the BW sports, doing a little winter sports recap, and then moving along to the preview of men's and women's lags coming up. And I guess the best place to start would probably be with men's basketball. When you look at the team, what they did this year, a 16-11 record. They won a game in the OIC tournament. That was a really great home game for them, but not much else going on there.
They had that big win against John Carroll.
They did.
They were ranked pretty high, went into their place and upset them.
That's true.
That was always nice to
be.
beat.
What, 9?
Yeah,
9 or 10 in the country.
They were
when that
top
happened?
10 in the country for sure when that happened.
Yeah.
And having, it's always nice to beat your rival at their place.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to knock them off at our place. It was a tough game, but we got the best of them at their place. It was nice to see.
Right, I agree with that. That's a big road win too. And looking at their road record for this year, they were kind of road warriors at 9-4. Sadly, it looks like they struggled a little bit at home at 6-6.
Yeah, we're a young team, so having a lot of young players, transitioning into college, it's a big jump from the high school level. I thought we were a little undersized in some games. We got beat on the rebounds a lot, but a little bit more transition to next year, definitely think we'll pick that up. And I'm excited to see our team next
Right.
year.
I agree with that. And you got the coaching change happening too.
Absolutely. You know,
you
that
have
always
the previous
fixes
coach
things.
leading to go take an athletic job with a local high school, and a new coach coming in. He's obviously going to want to run his offense.
Absolutely.
And eventually, he's going to get his players in here now. He's working with what the old coach did and trying to benefit those kids as well.
Exactly. You know, that happens all over the place. And, you know, we have a little turnover here. But I thought I was impressed by the younger players.
I was too.
You
I
know.
have to agree with that. You got some new fresh guys coming in, some fresh talent to kind of mix with the old vets there. And I mean, in looking at the previous season, yeah, it's a drop off. I mean, the previous season they were 18-9, but I'm pretty sure they lost first round of the OACs there.
I believe
And,
they did.
They at least won a game this year, so that's improvement.
Exactly.
In a long shot. Still waiting to get into the tournament. Still waiting to get
Yeah.
that OAC championship with them, and all the guys want it. They're all hungry to get after it too.
Absolutely. They're looking good for the future.
I agree with that. And it is. There are some differences in the season. Points wise, it's kind of the same. Rebound wise, it's kind of the same. It's almost the same players. But then you look at the home record. You're 9-3. I mean,
Yeah.
9-3 and 6-6. Yes, it's a 3-game difference, but 9-3 looks a lot better.
It's a big 3-game difference in the OAC schedule. I mean, they're not out here playing.
Too. I mean,
yeah.
you're winning 9 games at home. People are going to want to come out and see you guys
Exactly.
play a lot more. When
You
you're
get that
doing
home field
6-6 at
advantage.
home, it's
People-
tough to get people out there.
You know, people are going to stay home and study
Right.
instead.
And even I was at some games this year. I saw them play. I mean, there were some times where I was like, wow, they can beat some of the tougher teams in the conference. And there's other times I'm like, you know, there's a separation there.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it wasn't that they weren't playing hard. It was either they had the lead, and it just starts.
You
The
think
other
that
team starts making
some
more
of
and
that
more shots.
inexperience being too
yeah,
young?
I mean, I would agree with that too. I mean, you're waiting for somebody to take over and lead them,
Exactly.
and you know,
You'd like to
looking
see
for
the
somebody-
leadership build up next year.
Right,
That
right.
should be a big key. You know, getting those tough battles against Marietta, John Carroll. I mean, those are powerhouses in the
I
nation.
mean, the OAC is a tough conference
Yeah.
in every sport, and even in basketball. I mean, you look at Marietta; they were just on another level
Oh,
this year. They were.
You know, I watched the game that I was there that night, and they walked in. I'm like, is this Kent State?
Yeah.
I mean, if you wouldn't know if they didn't have Marietta on their chest.
Yeah, they
like
got some
they're
bruises on that
huge.
team.
It's like it's impressive watching a D3 basketball team come in there, and they could all shoot, rebound. They're very fundamental.
I would agree with that. And looking at the record and stuff like that, that was definitely the team that gave them the most trouble, and actually gave the conference the most trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know what they
Absolutely.
finished with record wise.
They actually,
I know they were number
John
one.
Carroll won the OAC though. They upset
They
him.
did. That
You
was
know,
huge.
that's why
They both made the tournament though.
I believe so,
Yes.
yeah. But, you know, I thought Marietta was going to easily win the OAC, the tournament.
Oh.
But, that's why they play the games.
Looking at the record and looking at that team, I'm surprised they didn't just walk away with the championship.
Yeah, I know. I got to give a shout out to Kyle Dixon. He's a Poland Seminary grad.
There you go.
We like to help our own, so shout out Kyle Dixon.
And then kind of moving along into the women's, looking at the women's, they finished a little better, one game better than the guys this year at 17-11. They have a 6-5 home record and another Road Warrior story. They're 11-4 on the road, but there you are against 6-5.
What's wrong with us? What?
I don't know.
Well,
What's wrong with
is
the
it
home
us? You
environment?
know,
I don't know. I mean,
is it the team? Is it us? Are we not showing up?
I don't know. The home games were definitely a struggle for us this year, that's for sure. But then looking at the team from last year or the previous year before that, a huge difference in record. They're 22-7.
Yeah,
They're 13-2 at home,
that's huge.
losing 2 home games total. You got to win your own gym.
You know,
that's what's going to separate you from
what
a lot
comes
of
down.
teams.
That's in any sport. You got to win in your own place. You know, if you go 500 on the road and go 750 at home, you're making the playoffs in whatever sport that is, most likely.
I mean, even with the difference in them, they lost, I think, one senior, one starter last year.
Yeah.
They got a whole returning group of kids, and they brought in a lot of talented freshmen.
Exactly.
There are some girls on that team can play. And, I mean, in a year or two from now, they're going to be another great team. And even next year, I don't think there's any reason they can't make another run at the OACs and make it back into the tournament after missing this
Yeah,
past
I
year.
definitely don't see a reason why not. You know, you have an off year every once in a while.
Right.
The coach will get him back into shape.
I agree
I
with that.
definitely agree. She's been here a long time.
I mean, I wonder if they're a tournament team. I mean, they're showing up for the big games, and I think when they're going up against the teams they're supposed to be, that's where their struggles are coming from.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's
playing
mental
down to
or-
competition. You know, that happens all the time. Like, even look at the Cavs, the best team in the East. They just played the Jazz and didn't show up to the game. So, it happens at all
I
levels.
mean, when you talk about the OAC tournament, they made a run. They made it all the way to the finals.
Yeah.
It was them versus Mount on Mount's home court.
Exactly.
Mount had a better record than them. And they don't get blown out. It's a close game, and they lose by 10. I mean, that's
Exactly.
not
They
What do you
showed
think?
up. It was a closer game. I think they were winning like 6 in the final 3 minutes, and they couldn't hold on. So
I mean,
Mount pulled away.
You got 2 All-OAC players on that team, and Sidney Clark and Mackenzie Colombo.
Yeah.
Both have been playing since they were freshmen and getting minutes.
The juniors this year?
Yeah, they're juniors this year. They're going to be seniors next year. So there's the leadership.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there, you got the experience. You know what's saying you can't get it done next year when OAC's make another run at that ring in the tournament too.
You know, exactly. It's all about getting the shot, the opportunity. You know, the leaders have to step up, get the freshmen and the sophomores along with, because we got some talented kids coming in, great recruiting class, and it's all coming together. Hopefully they get it straight for next year and bounce back.
And seeing them play, it's not that they're losing games by a lot either. There's a lot of close games. It's not like they're having trouble finishing games either. It's just they're going out there, they're playing their game, and either they're on shooting or they're not on shooting.
Yeah.
There's some games that are in the 60s and 70s, and there's some games that are in the 40s. You know, it's either a defensive battle or neither team's making a shot that game.
Yeah, it's, you know, that happens in the long season. You're going to miss some shots when we rely so much on the jump shot.
Yeah.
It happens that you just go cold.
It can make or break you.
It does.
It
Live
can
by the
make or
3,
break
die
the
by the
season.
3.
There you go. But that's kind of the whole basketball recap going in and talking about those guys. I mean, we do have to talk about the wrestling team for a little bit.
OSC champs.
OSC championships, beating Heidelberg at BW.
Yo.
Great atmosphere and great team this year
Oh,
also.
absolutely. You know, I was at a couple matches where we shut opponents out. Like,
Yeah.
they didn't get a win. You know, it's always impressive at wrestling because, you know, even if you have the better team, there might be a weight class. You know, they have a stud, and they might get that one win. We didn't allow it to happen. You know, we didn't even always put our best guys out there
Right.
in some of the games, and we swept. We swept one team. I think it was like 42-0, and it was just we got tech falls and pins, and it was impressive. You got to give a shout out to those guys. You know, wrestling always takes a back seat, usually the basketball. You know, it doesn't always in the limelight, but they came in every day. They got the work, and they went undefeated in the conference.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, definitely the mentality on that team. You look at them, I don't care who's across from me on the mat. I don't care what they've done coming up and going up against me, but I'm going to beat them and show them that I'm the better wrestler.
Absolutely. That's the mentality you have to have at wrestling. It's almost like that boxer fighting mentality.
Yeah,
You know, you think all these people are cocky and whatever, but you got to be kind of a little crazy to go out there.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
That can be
fighting
said about
another
any
person.
sport. If you have the right mentality and the work ethic's there, you should go out and win. Hands down, end of the day. It doesn't always
Exactly.
happen, but your coach isn't going to get mad at you for it.
No, it's
And
all about the
Coach
hustle.
gives
and-
an absolutely outstanding job with these guys. All the
Oh.
guys love him.
It's insane.
can't say
And, you know, I
enough
look at
about
the
it.
team. Some teams can't even bring a full roster.
I know.
And we got like 30 guys on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Like, it's impressive.
And they're all bought in. Every single one of them is.
Yeah. You know, we had a couple guys go to the Nationals this year,
Yeah,
too.
two or three, I
Yeah.
believe.
And, you know, it's always good getting out in the limelight, you know, having BW out there representing Nationals. And, you know, speaking of Nationals,
Right, you gotta
we got
bring it
our
up.
national championship.
First one in how many?
God, many years.
38 years?
But we got the women's track team
Right.
winning that national championship, bringing it home, baby.
Yeah, Melanie Winters, Kim Galvin. Shout out to everybody on that team that did what they could to get those and bring that national championship.
Men's
back
did
to
pretty
BW.
good that tournament,
Yeah, they
too.
did. Tyler Burdorf came in second nationally,
Yep.
weight throwing shot. You know.
It's good to see our, you know, I'm excited for the spring for them.
Oh yeah.
They put a great show in the winter. Get outdoors and let's see what they got.
Sports here. There's no limits here. Everything's
No.
on the rise. BW's getting on the map for everything, whether it be
Exactly.
sports or even political.
I mean, we're the best conference in America.
in
and
D3 wise, yes, I would agree.
it's
with
always tough, so we got to go. And we're on the rise here. Football had a good season. Basketball's competing. Track won a national championship. I'm excited to see where we go.
you. I'm just saying the OAC better watch out for BW. That's all I got to say about that.
Go Jackets, baby.
Go Jackets.
And next we're going to have the Cleveland Sports Buzz with Peter and Joe. Here we go.
All right. I am the unforgettable Joseph Williamson here with Peter George in the sweetest hat I've seen all day. And we're here to talk to you a little bit about local Cleveland sports. How you doing, Peter?
I'm doing great. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling probably better than I will after we go into our first topic. I want to talk a little Browns. Obviously, a lot of guys walking away from this team. Stories about pulled offer sheets and people complaining about the weather. So the fans are getting pretty nervous.
It's every day in Cleveland.
Yeah, fans are getting pretty nervous about the losses. How do you feel about it?
I choose not to worry, really. I'm an eternal optimist in sports and in life, and you got to be if you're a Cleveland fan, obviously. But if you look at what we're we're doing something that it's never been done before. You have Jonah Hill. I mean, Paul Podesta.
He looks good, by the way. He lost some weight.
Jonah Hill. He regained it. Anyways, you have the Moneyball guy running. Doing all analytics. You have a Harvard lawyer as like the president of the team. You have, I think his name's Andrew Berry, former Colts executive, as sort of like the de facto general manager. So it's very interesting. I'm going to give these guys a chance, obviously, because we don't know what they've done before.
Yeah, Dee Podesta was giving a speech at a Sloan conference, basically one smart guy talking to a lot of smart guys, where he talked about at the Combine, other executives openly mocking him and mocking the Browns. He compared it to a roller coaster ride where he said you get all excited about it, you get up to it, and when you get there, you say, I don't think I want to do this.
It's not just other executives, smack talking to Browns. I remember seeing Adam Schefter recently saying players treat the Browns like college, 4 years, and then you get out of there. And I don't really like that. I love Adam Schefter, but I don't like to comment.
Yeah, I think that I don't. Obviously, the team's worse now than it was at the end of the year.
Well, that's because free agency and draft hasn't happened yet.
That's right. And I don't think that when the Browns are successful, any of these guys would be a big part of it. I think that the youth movement that everyone's talking about is really going to be the key to success. And part of it, I think, is a lot of attitude. And, when these guys, even the ones, who were here from their rookie deal, had 3 coaches and 3 front offices, and it's just natural to have a mindset of here we go again. And
it's not the player's fault either.
Absolutely not.
It all starts at top of the owner.
There's an argument that says if they won, then maybe some people would stay.
That's true, but maybe if we had better coaching or maybe better ownership, it'd be better.
That's an argument for more than 10 minutes. But even if you're a good soldier like Alex Mack was, it's hard to get out of your head that here we go again. How long are these guys going to get by really jettisoning some of these older players and bringing in young talent?
Well, that's pretty much the analytical movement. We're not going to sign guys. We're not going to sign guys over 30 years old. We recently released Carlos Dansby. There's a rumor that Dante Whitner might be the next one to get cut. We released Dwayne Bowe, but that was just purely performance. He never should have been signed. One of the worst free agent signings ever.
Poor Bowe. Can't get those checks no more.
$9 million for 1 year and 5 catches, 53 yards. Good job,
Worth
Bo.
every penny.
Worth every penny.
So, obviously, I think we're in agreement that none of these guys, the Browns wouldn't be a successful team automatically last year if they kept them. But of all the ones kind of walking away, who would you say you're most sad to see go?
That's a good question. I would probably have to say Mitchell Schwartz, just because I feel like with Alex Mack, he's part of he's over 30, so part of the analytical movement, and he had that injury in the past, so you don't know. He took some time to come back last year, and he was never really the same all-pro player that he was. And with Schwartz, if you watch that Denver Broncos game from last season, he shut down Von Miller, who was an all-pro. He's an amazing player.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think I'm going to miss Mac most of all just because it's rare that you have a guy who's probably one of the best at his position walk away in football. Football is one of those sports that's really designed for teams to keep their top-tier talent. But speaking of top-tier talent, let's give ourselves a little bit of a boost here and talk to the Cavaliers.
We got to be optimistic about something, right?
Although, I'll be honest, for as good as this Cavs team is, I don't have a lot of fun watching them. I think it's the weight of expectations, but I enjoyed them more last year when it was kind of like, well, if they can't figure it out, they can't figure it out. This year, they better figure it out. But they seem to be on their way. Won 3 out of 4 on a long road trip out to the West Coast. They beat the Kings, the Lakers, the Clippers, and then a bit of a dud against Utah. But all in all, a very good performance, good numbers. So would you say that this is the team that we're going to be expecting in the playoffs? Are they finally rounding into form here at the 11th hour?
I think the team that we saw against the Clippers, for sure, if that team plays consistently, there's not another team that could beat us in a 7-game series. But, you did a complete 180 against Utah, Gordon Hayward-less Utah, if I might add.
Big esports fan. Shout out to my esports people out there.
There you go.
It's a real sport. Don't look at me that way.
I agree. But I think this team can be ready, but if the Cavs played Golden State or San Antonio in a 7-game series right now, I wouldn't pick the Cavs to win either one. But I do think, legitimately, the Cavs are the third best team in the NBA.
So, obviously, we only have to play. One of the advantages of being in the East is we only have to play San Antonio or LA, or beg your pardon, Golden State.
Golden State.
We don't have to play both.
Nope.
Which of those two teams do you think is going to be the one that comes out? And if you want to make an argument for the Thunder, I'll let you, but it won't be very long. And then what is the key for the Cavs to beat them? What do the Cavs still have to do to become that better team?
I think me personally, I would rather play Golden State. I think we have a better chance of beating Golden State. I think San Antonio's going to come out of the West. I just don't think Golden State's going to make the finals. If you look at them, it seems like they're peaking too early. They remind me a lot of the Denver Nuggets teams with Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson. A lot of fun in the regular season, had some fun in the playoffs, but they could never really get that far.
Yeah, I feel like Golden State, they are, as far as sustained success goes, they're fantastic. They're great to watch. The fact that, you have to defend Curry from 2 feet off the three-point line is ridiculous. But the way they're built, they are the most susceptible team to a bad stretch. And we haven't seen that yet. We haven't seen them go through a bad stretch. But they are so reliant on their style that all it takes is one funky week, which happens to teams at any level. And if that funky week happened to come at the finals, they could be a very susceptible team. San Antonio has the experience, has the coaching, and has the talent.
Yeah.
That if it was between those two teams, I'm much more nervous about San Antonio, despite the fact that Golden State looks almost unbeatable.
I think Golden State, just besides the fact that they're a great team, do you know how lucky they are? How many injuries have they actually suffered? I can't think, especially
It's
last
not
season.
been good. Curry's sat a few games. He's also, but part of that you can call it luck, but they managed their minutes very well. Curry,
true.
despite playing more than last year, is not as high up as you would expect for minutes played. They get a lot of production off their bench, but it's a sustaining bench, and that's what I want to talk about as far as what can the Cavs do to win. Curry, the Golden State bench is more about sustaining what the first team did. It's not letting it get away, whereas the Cavs, I feel, have a bench that can come in and they can push a score, and they can really take over a game while the starters are on the bench.
That's a pretty good point. Now, enough about basketball, and let's talk about baseball for a change.
Yeah, it's almost spring, baseball. Okay, so last year, Indians had a lot of expectations. They had a Sports Illustrated cover that we're still blaming for the lack of success. They won 81 games and didn't make the postseason. This year, there's a lot of high expectations coming from the press and the numbers, but I'm not feeling a lot of excitement from the fans. Do you think we're ready for the season? Do you think that we have any expectations? Or
Well, me personally, I'm more excited than Nick Swisher on any given day. But I think for the Indians, I could see why the fans aren't excited, just because you had such high expectations last season with the Sports Illustrated cover, and you had Corey Kluber, Michael Brantley, you had the Cy Young, and a guy who finished third in the MVP race, and you just let everyone down. Now, I think we're going to be a lot better this year. We have arguably the best pitching rotation in baseball.
I love the starting pitching.
Exactly.
I think it's going to be amazing to watch. And the best thing about it to me is that pitching is one of those things that stats guys, nerds like me, tend to get excited about, but the regular person does. Our starting rotation is built on overwhelming strikeout power, and that's something you can get behind. It's like when you watch a player to see him hit home runs, despite the fact that he could be incredibly valuable in other ways. Brantley will never get the endorsement deals or anything like that because he doesn't hit a lot of home runs, but he's incredibly valuable. Pitching's the same way, but when you have four guys capable of incredible strikeout years, it's going to be fun to watch. Obviously, a lot of the teams in our division made some improvements, the White Sox in particularly. Some took a step back. Kansas City lost what little pitching they had. Who do you think is going to be the biggest threat for the Tribe?
I think the whole division is, every team in there is a really tough team. Watch out for Minnesota. They have Byron Buxton. He's supposed to be a top prospect, and they surprised a lot of people last year. I think, did they get to over 80 wins last year, or 81 wins?
We'll have to check with our fact checker on that one.
But
I'm not going to give you Minnesota. I like your enthusiasm. You did say you were an optimist. Minnesota's a few years away, but it's got to be the Royals. They lost some players, but they also retained some key players, and the Royals didn't win on the strength of their starting pitching. It wasn't that good last year.
Yeah.
It's going to be worse this year, and that's going to hurt them. But the strength of that team is the fact that they can hit exceptionally well in their own ballpark. I'm sure Paul DePodesta could explain that to us
Yeah.
much better than I could. And their bullpen. If they take a lead into the 7th, the odds of them relinquishing it are slim to none. So until I see that step back that the people are projecting, I got to say it's the Royals division. I still think the Indians take it, but I think Kansas City is going to be the one you got to get over to get there.
I can agree with that for sure.
Well, thank you all for joining us for this inaugural edition of Jacket Talk. I'd like to thank all of our crew, all of our hosts before me, and we will see you guys next time.
Peace and love, y'all.